What is going on, everyone? Hope you're having a great day today. So, if you see this video, please do subscribe. Do consider subscribing. I greatly appreciate it. I see every subscriber that I get, and I really appreciate anyone and everyone that subscribes to my channel. Now, before I get started on this Bitcoin and taxes topic, just know that if you buy or sell virtual currencies, such as cryptocurrencies, such as Bitcoin and others, this is all just for, fun, entertainment, informational purposes. I am not a tax expert. I'm just diving into something that interests me that I found on my own just by searching on the IRS website, and I suggest that you do the same. Please don't use anything in this video as real, hard set in stone facts or rules. I'm just going over some things that I found, and you should definitely do your own research as well. Anyway, let's get right into it. So the IRS, this is a topic of interest lately, just because what is going to happen to Bitcoin? There are tremendous gains. I own Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin, and I'm up 77% in Ethereum alone. That's a huge return, and that's unlike anything that you can get in the stock market right now. With these huge returns and how often they're traded, especially by young people and now older people are starting to buy in, more, brick and mortar, old age banks are starting to open up trade desks and, consider holding Bitcoin on their balance sheets. It's going to come time that this is going to continue to rise. These are trading at volumes that are going to continue to grow, and we're going to see more and more people enter the market buying cryptocurrencies. So I think it's really important for me personally, I believe, to know the tax consequences. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat, within the first 2.5 minutes of this video, I personally think, and I just heard this recently too from some other finance talking heads, but I personally think that we will see within the next 5 years, let's say, Bitcoin be taxed at near 40 to 60%. I think that that will be like a short-term tax rate for it, but then there's also going to be a long-term tax rate of a lot higher than the 15% right now for the majority of people. I really do think that. I really do think that we're going to see between 40 and 60% tax rate on virtual currencies because why not? It disrupts the dollar. It rivals the dollar. Why not? And people have these enormous gains. Uncle Sam and the IRS and the United States government loves to take a bite out of anyone's realized gains. So I could definitely see that happening. That's just my opinion. Between 40 to 60%, I think that Bitcoin will, in all virtual cryptocurrencies, will be taxed at that within the next 5 years. Timestamp it now. Save the receipts. As of right now, though, it's interesting. You pay your Bitcoin or cryptocurrency capital gains based on normal short-term and long-term capital gains that are in effect right now. So as of right now, the long-term capital gains rate is basically, for most people, between 15 and like 22, 23%. It's one or the other. You either pay 15% if you're in one tax bracket, or if you're in the higher tax bracket, you owe like 22 to 24%, something like that. Short-term capital gains, is your normal marginal income tax bracket rate. So for most people, you're in like the 22%, then you pay, instead of 15%, you pay 22% on your Bitcoin if you short-term held it and realized the gain. So that's not that bad in comparison, 22%. In compared to, like I said, what I think personally, my personal, just going on a hunch, what I think, between 40 to 60% for short-term gains. I think that's what's going to happen in the long term with the United States government. So let's look at this. So this is an entire section on the IRS's website as far as what are the tax consequences for virtual currencies. And it's really interesting just because there is a whole there's a whole list as far as publication 544, which is a sales and other dispositions of assets, and it's how to figure out a gain or a loss and whether it's ordinary or capital, and how to treat the gain or the loss and how to report it as well. I know that just from, I'm going to skip ahead over here, just from me buying and selling Bitcoin on the Cash App through Square, I got sent a 1099-B form, which is the proceeds from a broker and a barter exchange. That's what a 1099-B is, and basically it says right here, it's a federal tax form used by brokerages and barter exchanges to record customers' gains and losses. So they already filled out the form for me, Cash App Square did, and it's that easy, and it just tells the government how much I bought and how much I sold my Bitcoin for, and what was my gain, or what was my loss. So it's basically a way of the United States government and these United States government to issue, rules to companies that sell or hold on to or disperse Bitcoin, to make sure that they are taxing you correctly. And it is truly like a new thing. I've never had a 1099-B before. I've had interest, I've had dividends, now I have to add this 1099-B. It is a whole new tax form, so that is something that if you own something like the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, then if you own it in a brokerage account, you don't have to, I don't believe, again, this is not factual information, this is just my guess, I don't believe that you actually have to get a 1099-B. I don't think you get a 1099-B from them. I haven't yet. I did own it at one point in 2020. But it's counted in like your normal brokerage gains and loss statements and on your tax forms. So anyway, that's a 1099-B. And now let's go. I thought this is really interesting. There is a whole Q&A, or FAQ, I should say, on the IRS's website, and it says, how do I determine if my loss is if my gain or loss is a short-term or a long-term capital gain or loss? And the answer is if you held the virtual currency, this is typical for all capital gains, by the way, but if you're new, if you held the virtual currency for 1 year or less before selling it, or exchanging the virtual currency, then you will have a short-term capital gain or loss. Depends on if you made money or lost money on it. If you held the virtual currency for more than a year before selling or exchanging it, then you will have a long-term capital gain or loss. The period during which you held the virtual currency begins the day after you acquire the virtual currency and ends the day you sell or exchange the virtual currency. So it basically, in a nutshell, normal capital gains or losses time period applies to this. And so what you do is you just calculate it. Usually, usually, like I said, the 1099-B I think will tell you how much you gained or lost if you sold it, again, short term or long term. And then that is how the government decides how to tax you on it. So anyway, I just wanted to bring this up to you guys. I thought it was really interesting. There are tons of Q&As on the IRS website. I definitely recommend you check it out. And let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you soon.